right, welcome everybody to the NorCal Sports Network, and we have a special guest tonight, fresh off the radio from KMBR, Kerry Crowley. Welcome, Kerry.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan. Looking forward to this.
Yes, we've been trying to hook up here for a better part of a month or two, and we finally got together. And I know your time's a little limited, and you got another engagement to be at 8:30, so we'll get right into this. And yeah, Kerry, it's been a crazy off season. It started to feel a little bit like collusion was going on or something here with nothing happening. But this week things are starting to pick up a little bit, and the Giants just got their man, and he passed his physical. Jung Hoo Lee. Hey, what do you think of the signing?
Yeah, I think that, look, you have to solidify the middle of the diamond. If you're the San Francisco Giants, the best way to counter the Dodgers and the Padres is to build the middle of the diamond and the pitching staff. And I think back to even the World Series teams struggled to patch together a good outfield, and oftentimes struggled to have standout players who could play for you for a consistent basis for 5-6 seasons in the outfield, whereas the infield was this great homegrown group. So I love the Lee signing because he makes contact. He's going to play at the top of the order. He's going to play every day, so he's not a platoon guy. And you've got someone who you can just say, look, 150 times a year, he's going to be the center fielder. Is he going to be that in year 4, 5, or 6 of the contract? I don't know. But all the Giants should be focused on is 2024, because missing the playoffs the way they have the last 2 seasons, inexcusable. The fans deserve better, and you have to think about now. And now, to me, Lee is the best option in center field, or at least the best option who is available.
Yeah. And, a lot of people are really high on the signing. Some are not. They think it may be more like a AA equivalent, maybe between AA and AAA, yet he's produced. And if you look at his swing, he makes a lot of contact. We've even have some highlights off of him of Yu Darvish. Went 2 for 4, I believe, off him in the WBC this year. Some people may think he can't hit the fastball, but Darvish was throwing it at 95, and he turned on it a couple times. So, it may take a while for him to adjust to major league pitching. But but now that they've got their center fielder out of the way, what do you think they should be doing next to solidify this team and make it a competitive for 24 and beyond?
I think the obvious move is tell Yoshinobu Yamamoto that you're going to give him a record-breaking contract offer, that he will be, when he comes to the United States, the highest paid pitcher in Major League Baseball history. 10 years, $360+ million. And you say, look, if you don't want to come here, that's fine, but we have an offer that will make you the highest paid pitcher ever, even if you haven't thrown a pitch. Because if you're going to face Betts and Freeman and Ohtani, and you're going to face Ha-Seong Kim and Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts and that great lineup, Fernando Tatis down in San Diego, the Giants aren't going to put together their own lineup this offseason that is suddenly competitive with those teams.
Correct.
There are not enough free agents available. They'd be giving up far too many prospects to get the type of hitters that they wanted to build a lineup that could compete with those two. And the Diamondbacks lineup, they probably won't have as good of a team. So if you can get your offense to middle of the pack through a few upgrades, through maybe Marco Luciano has a breakout season next year, through taking some chances on guys like Jung Hoo Lee, that's great. But the thing that you need to do is counter with an ace level rotation. So it's not just going to be Yamamoto. It's got to also be a trade for a Corbin Burns, or bringing in someone else who can supplement this rotation. And if they miss on Yamamoto, go after Blake Snell. Look, I think there are red flags with Blake Snell. I don't love the fact that he walks a million guys, but he's better than everyone else available.
Right. You're on the same page as I am. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I've been thinking.
Are you related to Kerry Crowley? Because you guys just threw out the crazy 10 years, 360. I mean, Dan, that's kind of what you've been saying too.
I've been saying this, but you can't get him if you're in the pack with the others. You're just not going to get him. He's not going to choose the Giants. If the Mets and Yankees and Dodgers and Giants are all offering 300, get get in line because you're at the back of it, Giants.
Mhm.
Because you might as well just go ahead and, like you said, Kerry, got to blow him away, and you got to sell him on the fact that this is a historic franchise, and what better chances? What a better way to make a name for yourself than instead of joining Ohtani, striking out Ohtani,
Yeah.
beating Ohtani.
I like what you said there about, blowing the competition away in the free agent market. Last night, I talked to a group of Giants fans who are from New York. And so they followed the team since the days of, the Polo Grounds, and tremendous group, just knows Giants history inside and out, was calling me out on my lack of knowledge about the end of the 1962 season. I wasn't there for it, so it's okay.
I was 1 year old.
but what someone asked me was, why did Ohtani, if the Giants have the same offer, sign with the Dodgers? And to me, it's obvious, because if you're thinking about winning for the next 5 seasons, the team that you have a better shot with winning with, if we take all our biases away, is the Dodgers. It's just point blank the Dodgers. And you just listed off the other teams. Is it the Yankees? Is it the Mets? Is it the Red Sox? You probably have a better chance with them. If money is your motivating factor and breaking a record with that contract is a motivating factor, which I have no idea, it may not matter to Yamamoto. But if in the slightest bit of a chance there is, then you've got to have the best offer, and it's got to be far and away the best offer.
Correct. Now, the Dodgers tonight have a deal for Glasnow, which is contingent on him signing a new extended contract. So they don't want to just rent him. What about the Giants making a similar offer deal to the Brewers with Corbin Burns? And who would you give up in a deal if you could get Corbin Burns, and maybe you might have to give up Luciano. Maybe you get Adames back in the deal. What do you think?
Yeah, well, Giants fans hated when I threw out the idea that you include Luciano in a deal like that. But the reason is simple. If you're getting Corbin Burns, that is your true ace, your true number 2, the guy who you can say, atop the rotation with Logan Webb, you've got an opportunity to win every day that he takes the mound. He pitches deep into games. You really can't quantify that value compared to other guys who are out there on the market right now, because Corbin Burns, to me, is better than Tyler Glasnow.
Yes.
I think I would much rather have him. I think he's more durable. Glasnow's never thrown more than 120 innings. And if you really, truly want to compete for a playoff spot in 2024, there's a decent chance that Marco Luciano might not be ready at shortstop. He may take a full year to adjust, like Brandon Crawford did in 2011 when he hit 204 with a sub 600 OPS. That could happen for Luciano. Willy Adames is a known quantity. And the reason I'd be okay with parting Luciano, I still think the Giants would be better off keeping him than not, but because he does have the injury history in the minor leagues. And if you're 22, back issues follow you. You could get over a broken ankle, but back pain is something that I don't know. I don't play Major League Baseball, but when I've had it, it hasn't gone away in my life. And I'm not getting the amazing treatment that you get in the trading room.
Absolutely. So, and Burns is he went to St. Mary's.
Exactly.
So from the Bay Area, I believe, or where's he from? Somewhere in the vicinity. I know that. But
somewhere around here.
That would be a great find. Hey, and for our audience, most everybody knows you, but one person said, "Who's this guy?" So, Kerry Crowley has been a host with KMBR for quite a while and was a beat writer for the Giants from 18 was it, Kerry?
I did 17 to 21, so I did the 98 loss season to the 107 win season.
Okay,
and then when I left, they got bad.
Yeah, so that's right. So Kerry was there day in and day out in the clubhouse. Probably knew as much as anybody because he also doubled up on KMBR as well. So we're fortunate to have Kerry here join us. And so now you know who that is. Okay.
Yeah, you wrote for KMBR.com and you wrote for the Mercury, correct?
Yeah, I did. Yep. Yeah. So, but they may know now, but they'll forget me in 30 minutes. So it's fine by me.
Yeah, and we've got a sub of yours here, which I'm a sub of your new channel. Tell us about your new YouTube channel, so we can.
Yeah.
We want to get everybody over there to subscribe.
Well, thank you, Dan. First off, I know very little about YouTube. I've been corresponding with Dan on mostly Twitter DMs to figure out how we were going to do this. So I'm brand new to setting up the page. It's called The Kerry Crowley Show. My plan this weekend is to sit down with a book and learn how to actually use the platform. So I apologize if I'm not interacting with the subs correctly. I don't know how to set up a topic page or anything like that. Or
Eric's our technical guy, and he can help.
Yeah, I can help you out. You need
Eric,
any questions?
We need a phone call because
sure. Not a problem.
I'm lost in that space, but I love the comments. People are really engaged, and you can post a video and people have tremendous insight into the Giants organization. I feel like it's a way better way to interact with people than I found on Twitter or any other social media. I tried Instagram for a while. I just feel like you got real passionate people who want to know more about the subject, and that's why I love YouTube.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, Dan, everybody get over there and subscribe to Kerry Crowley on YouTube.
In the description in this video has his YouTube, and also if they want to follow you on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it.
Cool.
But to piggyback on your talking about trading, is there a player in the minor leagues for the Giants that is untouchable, or do you think everybody should be able to? And I like what you say. You said this on KMBR. Prospects are not a known commodity.
Mm-hmm.
A major league player who's been playing, he can play at the major league level.
Exactly.
So
like if there's one, it might be this year's first round pick, Bryce Eldridge.
Bryce Eldridge, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one because he has the Aaron Judge physicality and the limitless potential, but you still have to see him in a full season of minor league ball. I mean, the guy could strike out 200 times in 500 bats next year, and you'd say, well, you can't get for him then what you could get for him right now. So I think that he would be the biggest trade chip. If the Giants were to make, a Juan Soto type move that the Yankees just made, and I don't know who out there even rivals that, Bryce Eldridge would probably be the centerpiece of the deal that everyone would ask for. But beyond him, I would listen on every single name, because the biggest thing is the gap between the Dodgers and the Giants is growing bigger with the Ohtani signing, with the Glasnow signing. You can't let it grow to the point where it takes you 5 years to catch up. You're not going to make up that gap this offseason, but you can't let it extend beyond what it's been. You have to do your best and spend some money and maybe make some trades that you're not comfortable with. My thing is, you have to act as a general manager or president of baseball operations like the contracts you hand out are not going to be yours. Who stays in a job for 10 years? Farhan's been in one for 5. He has to act like he won't be here, and they're going to be someone else's problem if those things go south, because that's how you get people to the Giants.
Yeah, they've got to be more bold. We have been, I don't want to say, I guess we could say it's been critical. We've been pretty frustrated as Giants fans growing up in the Bay Area since, I followed the Giants since '68, and I went through lean years. 71 was the first division title. I was 10 years old. I had to wait all the way until 1989 for them to make the World Series, and 87 to win an actual division, 16 years just to get into the playoffs. They didn't have wild cards back then. It was like dry, man. And I'm telling you, it was frustrating. So a lot of these newer Giants fans that experienced 3 World Series titles in 5 years and playoff appearances, and in 16, 14, 12, 10, and then playoffs, and World Series in 02. If you became a fan when Brian Sabean and Ned Colletti took over, you're like, well, wow, this is one of the best teams and organizations in all of baseball. Well, prior to that, from the 70s, really 70 to 87, they were 86, they were awful. Yeah. It was so, and I don't want to see him go back in that direction. And I feel like, what is the direction of the Giants? My feeling is this, Kerry, and I think you probably agree, is the Giants have to choose a lane. And if that lane is you want to compete now, then go get the top free agents available. As you said, you can't compete on the position side. Go stack your pitching staff.
Mhm.
Put that 600-700 million. You figure they were going to probably spend close to $1 billion this year, because if they had 700 allotted to Ohtani, they weren't going to stop there, because that's not enough.
Yeah.
So they were going to add a frontline pitching. They were going over $1 billion, I would think, close to, if they wanted both Yamamoto and Ohtani. So go ahead and put that remaining money. You got Lee now. Don't stop at one starter, Yamamoto. Get Yamamoto. I mean, I would love to see him. You know what? Why not just go get Yamamoto, Snell, and Montgomery, and have the most dominant pitching staff, and make Harrison, your fifth starter. And then you've got, and with Yamamoto, you also want, he kind of prefers a 6-man rotation from what I understand. So now you got Cobb in the wings when he's healthy. You can fill in with a Win or a Beck in the meantime. And then they would be, playoff favorites in my view. If they got into a series with that kind of pitching staff, and you got Lee that can hopefully be a contact hitter. You can find the other hitters. You don't need the big 3-run homer all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You can manufacture runs if you have contact hitters.
Yeah, I think that the way that the Texas Rangers went about free agency when they got the $500 million infield and Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, and then followed it up by spending all that money on their pitching staff, the Giants kind of need to do that, where, okay, $500 million is what you're going to allocate to your pitching staff this offseason. If it takes you to Snell and Montgomery, and then you say the leftover money was for Lee, fine. But if you take the approach where you're spending $500 this year and then close to $500 the next year to fill in the gaps and to see where your prospects didn't pan out, because the Giants, no matter who they sign, are going to have to rely on prospects next year. To me, it's a 2-year process of restocking the roster the way that the Texas Rangers did it. That has to be your blueprint. And fortunately for the Giants, they already have the manager in place in Bob Melvin, whereas the Rangers restocked and then went out and got Bruce Bochy. So the Giants can begin establishing that culture with Bob Melvin that they want, so that these young guys who are coming up are ready to contribute and, in their roles and able to fill wherever the Giants have gaps. But I think that the 2-year approach where you're spending big in successive off seasons, that's got to be the way. I
agree totally. You got any questions, Eric?
How about this one? Yes, we got 10 minutes here. What do you think about this news of Buster Posey? It seems like you're seeing, you see defenders of him. You see, there's actually people going after Posey for his comments talking about, trying to attract free agents and their families to San Francisco. Do you make anything of you being a native San Franciscan? I mean, how's it weigh on you?
Well, I'll say this. First off, it was a tremendous piece of journalism for Bags to get Buster Posey on the phone, because everyone wants to hear the inside story on how Ohtani was pitched, how it all went down. And I look at, the relationship that John Shea has with Willie Mays, where we got the book 24 that we all know.
Right.
I mean, it's one of the great pieces of American sports, books that we've ever had. I think that Bags has become kind of that guy with Buster and getting him on the phone and getting his perspective in key moments. And I also think that so much of what was out there was maybe taken a little out of context, because Buster said, unfortunately, perception is reality,
right?
Whether things are true or not. This is the way that people on the outside feel. Buster moved to Georgia. He was set to set up his whole life after his playing career back home with his family in Georgia, and he couldn't resist moving back. His family loved the Bay Area. They didn't feel at home back where he was home. And so they came back to San Francisco. They came back to the area. There are ambassadors for the Giants organization right there and saying, we tried it elsewhere. We wanted to be here. And the other component that I'd add to that, and this, I'll in a long, convoluted way, I'll circle back to Kevin Gossman. But almost every player I covered on the beat loved living in San Francisco. Yeah, exactly. Hunter Pence loved it. Pablo Sandoval would purposely go out to a coffee shop every day and run into the same people in San Francisco so that he could have that sense of community. I know that people didn't necessarily love Gabe Kapler's managerial style, but you can't knock how much he loved the city of San Francisco.
Right.
I rode his bike home from the ballpark every night to North Beach. I mean, there's people who fall in love with the city. Maybe it's not for everyone. It's certainly for me. I think it's the greatest place on the planet. But this all goes back to Kevin Gossman wanted to sign in San Francisco long term.
Yes.
And the Giants missed a golden opportunity to get a great ambassador. And Logan Webb, to me, is a great ambassador. But those two selling the city, selling the franchise together in free agency, it makes for a really compelling pitch. And the Giants missed the opportunity there. I think you need more people homegrown through the organization who become like Posey, like Belt, like Crawford, who loved living here and can be the voices who say to the outside free agents, yeah, if you're making $300 million, you're not dealing with the problems that everyday San Franciscans deal with. And we know what those are.
They need to do a campaign and really sell this city. They need to change the narrative because, the whole thing when you bring up Gossman, it's a painful subject because, you would have had your 1A, you would have had Webb and Gossman, and it was 5 years. Farhan didn't want to go 5 years. It wasn't the money, the annual money. It was the problem. Yeah. He was because he turned around and paid Wood and DeSclafani the same amount combined that he would have had to pay Gossman. And he gave DeSclafani 3 years and Wood 2, but he wouldn't give the 5. And now that looks like a basement bargain.
Yes, that's a bargain.
Yeah. I mean, and Kevin Gossman loved it. He loved it. That's the thing. And you can't miss on the players who want to be here. That is the moral to the story that I'm sure they've talked about that in the front office. I'm sure that Buster's talked about that, but not everyone is going to want to come to play for an organization that hasn't won a whole lot. And I think that matters a whole lot more than, the perception of the city. The Giants haven't won the last 2 seasons. They don't project to win right now in 2024, but the people who do, you keep them around.
Right. What's your take on Buster? What do you think his role is in the organization at this point?
It's really fascinating. And gosh, I wish I was Bags. I wish I could give you the better answer. He's just so good at what he does. I think that Buster has significant influence over the direction the front office takes and, is able to make phone calls that maybe other people can't make because of his connections in the game. And does a certain player or a certain agent think that the Giants are the right fit for them? If you're looking at, a backup catcher around the game, is Buster going to know who the guy to bring in is to pair with Patrick Bailey? The answer is probably yes. What starting pitchers does he like? Because he analyzes pitching at a level that no one I've ever met who's not a pitcher can analyze. So I think that there's significant influence in the baseball decisions. Is he making the waiver claims? No. Is he saying, go get this minor league free agent? No. But at the higher levels,
yes,
I want his advice. Yeah, he's going to.
Yeah, that's kind of what
a better negotiator than Farhan. Right? Yeah.
We spoke on this last night. My feeling is, and this is what my take of it is that Farhan, as you said, is doing the day-to-day operations. But if there's a big deal to be had, I believe Buster's over his shoulder, and he has to answer to Buster.
Well, I would think that you'd want Buster in that room. Like at bare minimum, you want him having heavy input on that decision. Because the guy, after the 2021 season, when he retired, he knew that Logan Webb was the leader. A lot of people on the outside didn't know that Logan Webb was going to be the guy moving forward. He could have easily said, hey, Crawford and Belt, it's your turn. You're still on the team. It's your turn. Buster knew that Logan Webb was the guy. And there's just a feel there that, after Webb had been good for 5 months and he'd been bad for the previous 18, there's a real feel there that only a player can have.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. I interviewed Webby last year. He was great. He had if he's listening to the show, Logan, don't take it personally that I said that if, I'm of the ilk that, and I don't like even saying this, but my feeling is if the Giants strike out and get nowhere and have another dud season, you might have to look at trading Webb for some top players. Because they have no assets right now that are tradable. And I want to see Webb retire as a Giant, but I don't want to see this team continue to just falter. They have to add more pitching. And, they're really only a couple years away. When you think about it, Kerry, they've got Harrison and Wisenhunt and Black and Reggie Crawford. If two of those guys hit, and they've got some more. They've got Birdsong and a couple other names I'm missing.
Landon Roop.
Roop. Maybe two guys hit.
Yeah.
And they become, now you've got a three-headed monster with Webb, Harrison, and let's say it's Wisenhunt or somebody else. But
my only word of caution is it wasn't that long ago, Chris Stratton, Tyler Beatty, Kyle Crick, and Andrew Suarez were supposed to save the Giants.
True. That's true.
That's why you might consider trading them.
Yeah. I mean, the Giants just have to be they have to be focused on a direction, and they
have to make some tough decisions,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're going to. It looks like they got to make some kind of move in the outfield this year with the addition of Lee. Now you've got a logjam of not so, you got unknowns and really Matos and Ramos. And then you've got the four hangovers with Slater, Haniger, Yaz, and Conforto. I think one, maybe two of those have to be dealt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, Kerry, thanks for joining the show. We appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it. We'll do it again sometime.
Everybody check out Kerry Crowley on KMBR, also on his YouTube channel. And we'll have you back on, Kerry, as if the Giants make a big deal coming up, maybe we can get you on if they get one of these pitchers.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Kerry.
Take it easy, Kerry.
All right. Kerry Crowley.
Great interview.
He loved getting him on. He's got a wealth of knowledge with the Giants. As we said, he's was the beat writer for 5 seasons with the Giants, with 21 being the greatest season in franchise history.
He was there for the 98 loss and a 107 win. Pretty
imagine that. Hey, listen, guys, we're going to close right now, but we're coming back on. So look for the new link. There's 102 of you. We did it in 2 links because we want to separate the shows.
Yep.
So join us right now. Head on over to the NorCal Sports Network, the actual link. Let me show you what the thumbnail looks like. It looks just like, it looks just like that.
There you are.
Okay. Giants Hot Stove. We're coming on right now. We'll be over there in about a minute. So go ahead and get over there now, and we'll be going for the next couple hours with a new link. Have a good one, everybody.
All right. See you over there, guys.
Just